Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Great Lakes Commissioner Conference. We're going to get started in just one more minute, working through some final details. So looks like we have a great group online this morning. We have 86 people, which is fantastic. So we'll be with you just one more minute. Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Cool. All right. Thank you. All right. We'd like to get started here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Bentley, the Great Lakes Council Commissioner, and I'd like to welcome you to our conference. What I'd like to do, I'll put my screen up here, and we will get started. Does everyone see my screen? All right, fantastic. All right, we'd like to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. So Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Before we get started this morning, I'd like to share, it's a sad note, but for those of you that didn't know, Harry Price, one of our fantastic scouters from Sunset District, passed away this week. Many of you probably know Harry and Mary. They're always together at scouting events, supporting, whether it's training. Harry was the MCC outdoor ethics advocate, and he passed away this Wednesday. So we just want you to keep Mary in your thoughts and prayers. There's a visitation tomorrow in Livonia at Mann's Family Funeral Home. And if you can make it, it's from noon to 8 p.m. And then the funeral will be on Monday in Redford. So anyways, great loss for our scouting family, but I wanted to start our meeting off sharing this information. I'm Mark Bentley. I'm as I mentioned, the new council commissioner for the Great Lakes Division. 60 days into my job, and I wanted to thank everybody who's supported me so far. I'm very fortunate. I have a great team of people that I work with, and we'll be talking about them in a minute. So without further ado, a few housekeeping items. Everybody's microphones are going to be on mute, unfortunately, because we have over 100 people signed up. So please use your chat feature to ask questions today. And also, we're going to actually ask you to turn your cameras off here shortly, just to save bandwidth. You know, not that we don't want to see your smiling faces, but sometimes we get into bandwidth issues on these calls. So if you could turn your cameras off, that would be fantastic. Speakers will have their cameras on. We're going to be doing Q&A again through the chat feature. We will try to answer as many questions as possible, but we may need to respond to some of those post-conference. And what we'll do is we're going to capture those in a document, and we will answer them as we can right after the conference. And also sharing a link. This session will be recorded with the exception of the breakout sessions. Those we cannot record. Your first breakout session, as Chris Hopkins already mentioned, you select that before you go into it. That'll be at the midpoint of our event today. So if you can select that, and you'll get pushed into that room, and we'll get started. And then the materials, as I mentioned, will be available after the event. So we'll send out a link with the recording. It'll be a YouTube link, and the materials will be in that email, as well as a Q&A session. So here's our agenda. So we're starting off, we're going to do team introductions. We're going to talk about 2021 goals. Kevin Will is joining us today, our MCC Council Commissioner, and he'll be giving us an update on what's going on at both the MCC and the national level. Our technology guru, Dave Berger, will talk about technology, commissioner tools. Ron Garrison is going to come talk to us about a new web resource that will be available through the MCC website. And then our breakout sessions. We've got some great sessions today with subject matter experts in each one of them. And we have rechartering lessons learned, commissioner recruiting, roundtable breakout, unit restarts, and unit and new unit commissioners. And as I said, each one of these has people that have lived and breathed these topics, so they should be great sessions. And then Dan Willoughby will follow up after our breakout sessions with training and awards, and talk a little bit just generally about training and awards and what's available to commissioners. And then our Commissioner Emeritus, Steve Foster, is going to come in and hand out the awards, because Steve for the last 4 years has been in the council commissioner role, and we felt it was important that Steve be the one that hands out the awards. And in a similar vein, we feel that Steve deserves to have the closing comments, and Steve is awesome, so we will have a great finish today. The goal is to be done by 11:30, so let's see what we can do to get that, accomplish that goal. All right, so here's our leadership team. In no particular order, we have our, when we say ACC, that's Assistant Council Commissioner. So for the East, we have Mark Stymick. Ken Noren manages the West, and Verna Morowski is doing our North section. She's up there in Port Austin, up in the tip of the thumb. We're still looking for an ACC for the South, so stay tuned on that. And then additional leaders, we have Wayne Hastings, who's our ACC, and Wayne has taken on a new role. He'll be managing our youth protection program and following up with everybody on that. So more on that to come. Mickey Mortimer is our ACC for exploring, and he's a great new addition to the team, working with different posts around the area. Then Axel Anderson is our ACC for communications. And then jumping on to training, I mentioned Dan Willoughby earlier. He's our ACC for training. Chris Pariseau, she is the person who keeps us in check on rechartering, and especially during this last few months, it's been quite challenging. And then Dave Berger, who'll be speaking to us shortly about technology. And I mentioned Steve, who's our Commissioner Emeritus. And then we cannot forget our professional staff advisor, Leon Bell, who's been great. He rolls his sleeves up every day, gets involved. He's been involved in rechartering. Any issues that we have, we can call Leon, and he works to get them done for us. So thank you, Leon, for all you do from the professional side to help us out. Now, this is kind of an eye chart, the next couple, so I apologize for that, but I want to recognize our district commissioners. Cheryl Burrows up in Blue Star, Joe Oito up in Blue Water, Dave Putt, Chippewa, Dave Cluck, Huron Trails, Bridget Holder, Irish Hills, Fred Farnell, Mohican, Dan Peck, North Star, Gary Muir, Ottawa, Lottie Johnson, Pontiac, Manitou, Nate Murray, Renaissance, Scott Munnerance, Rivers North, Adam Lee for Running Waters, Kurt Newman for Sunrise, Steve Sarlito for Sunset, and Michael Sheehan for Three Fires. As you can see, we have 15 districts now with the new reorganization. We are one big team, and we go from the Ohio border all the way up to the tip of the thumb where Verna sits. We have over 60 roundtable commissioners now as part of the Great Lakes Division, and over 300 unit commissioners. So nearly 400 total commissioners now are on this team, but we can always use more. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then again, apologize for the eye chart here. We'll make this a little bit cleaner next time, but here are our roundtable commissioners, and I want to thank all of you who get in every month and do the roundtables for us. You folks are unsung heroes for everything you do to make our roundtables flow great. So thank you for all you do. And I'm not going to name everybody here, but I just wanted to recognize you and what you do for roundtables for the district or for the division. Okay, so we just finished a very challenging rechartering season, and we received the latest results yesterday, and I wanted to share them with you briefly in a bar chart. So when it came to rechartering, we had 81% of the units log in this year to rechartering, meaning they started the process of rechartering. And out of those 81%, 76% actually completed step 5, which is the final step in the rechartering process. And basically the same number were received at registration services. We saw a drop off at between the registration services receipts and the units that were posted. And that's mainly due to defects, and those can happen for any of a number of reasons. But you know, we're still working on those, but roughly 65% of the units that are currently completed and posted in registration services. And when you look at the dropped units, and this is, you know, for many people, this is kind of a shocking number. We lost 20% of our units this year, which again is not great, but you know, facing COVID, facing increased registration fees, everything that we faced this year, we actually think that this number isn't as bad as it could have been. Now, that being said, we're still looking to take this number and bring those units back that we can. And we'll talk about that in a minute as part of our 2021 goals. So in terms of 21 goals, there are a number of things we'd like to focus on this year. Commissioner retention and recruitment. That's something that we always want to do. We want to retain the commissioners that we have, and where possible, recruit new commissioners. 2-to-1 ratio of commissioners to units is the goal. Right now we're at between 3 and 4, closer to 4 actually. So we'd like to take the workload off of those commissioners where possible and get it down to a 2-to-1 ratio so we can serve our units better. And unit health, we asked the unit commissioners to do a minimum of 2 detailed assessments per year, with the first this year coming due by mid-May, and the second we'd like to have by the end of November, so we aren't waiting until the end of the year to get our second detailed assessment. And of course, simple assessments happen all the time, so when you're logging your meeting visits with your units, please make sure that you log your simple assessments as much as possible. Program communications, it's going to be critical this year, especially as we're in this year of kind of transition out of COVID into, you know, back to real meetings and getting back together. We want to make sure that we communicate with people as much as possible. We want to ensure that their units are healthy and they're implementing effective programming, whether that's camping, whether that's attending training. We want to communicate all these events with our units, whether it's through unit commissioners or through our roundtables. COVID transition. We're going to be going through a very interesting time over the next few months as we transition out of COVID and get back to in-person meetings. People are anxious, as you all know, to start in-person meetings. And this is something that we're going to have to help facilitate, whether it's through our unit commissioners or figuring out a way to get roundtables back together in person safely. And it could be where we have a hybrid at roundtables, where we will have people that are comfortable going to roundtables in person, and we also have virtual for those that aren't comfortable or prefer the virtual method of roundtable. So that's something we'll be looking at this year as we go through the COVID transition. Unit restarts. we mentioned the 20% that we're dropping. Those are the units that we're going to be looking at where possible to try to bring back to bring back into play and to restart. Our professionals, we're going to be working with them hand in hand to try to bring these units back to life. And where they haven't merged or just completely gone under, we're going to try to breathe life back into those units. So more on that to come. And then rechartering, we just talked about that as well. What ways can we improve on rechartering? We're going to be going through lessons learned. In fact, one of the breakout sessions today is lessons learned on rechartering, and we'll be talking about that. And your input on that is actually going to be very valuable. So what you learned from rechartering this year, where we can improve, we're always looking to improve upon that. And ultimately, we want you to embrace the change that's going to happen this year and be as flexible as possible, because there's going to be a lot of moving parts. And again, as we come out of this COVID and we go into this transition, there's going to be some changes going on. So just bear with us, and we'll do our best to try to make this a successful year. Some upcoming events I'd like to mention. For those of you that already haven't, if you haven't signed up, we have our College of Commissioner Science on Saturday, April 24th for the Michigan Crossroads Council. It will be virtual this year due to coronavirus, but there's a great slate of courses. So we encourage you to sign up for that and go online. It's on the MCC website, and you can find it if you Google it. It's very easy to find. And then a couple of other items that are coming up quickly. We have our District Success Conference, which is actually going to be next Saturday at this exact same time, 9 a.m. And that's for building district committees and finding ways to make your district more successful, whether it's with your committee, with its membership, roundtables. So check that out. There was a meeting notice that came out on that earlier this week. And then brand new news, there's going to be a program kickoff on May 5th at 7 p.m. Traditionally, we've had these in person, on location at various venues, at least in the Great Lakes. We're going to take this to the MCC program level, MCC level, and we're going to do a virtual program kickoff. And subject matter experts from all the different areas, whether it's training, whether it's service, whether it's membership, whether it's awards, will be at this to be able to answer questions and help units as they kick off their summer and fall seasons. Okay, that is all I have for now. What I'd like to do is hand it over to Kevin Will, who is our Council Commissioner for the Michigan Crossroads Council, and he'll give us an update on the MCC and National Front. Kevin, over to you. Can you hear me, Kevin? Excuse me, we're waiting. Technical difficulties here. Chris Hopkins, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark. He's unmuted.
Oh, okay. Kevin, are you there?
Yes, it took a moment for somebody to unmute me.
No worries.
All right, good morning. I'd like to begin by extending my thanks and appreciation to the Great Lakes Division team for your hard work and dedication to completing the annual rechartering effort. We just have a bit of cleanup to do to resolve some remaining defectives. On Ron Scholl's recent report, there are 93 more units that have issues to be resolved, as well as an additional 33 that have not yet completed the process. Most of those are non-traditional units that have to be worked by our professional team. But I'd like to especially give thanks to the leadership offered by Mark Bentley and Stephen Foster as division commissioners, to Chris Pariseau for her efforts leading the ACCs for rechartering, and also our regional ACCs, Ken Norn, Mark Stymick, Verna Morosky, and our great district teams that have made this all possible. I also want to express my appreciation to our professional partners, Leon Bell and his team, without whose help the posting and processing of these charters would not be possible. Great effort by the team under extremely trying circumstances this year. Thank you very much. I'd like to use the majority of my time this morning to talk about the National Council bankruptcy reorganization, because I know this is of great interest to everybody. What I'd like to do is to give a recap over the last year of the major events that have happened and tell you where we're at the current time, to share with you how things are proceeding. Back in February of 2020, the National Council, as I think everybody knows, submitted a plan of reorganization to the federal court in the state of Delaware under Title 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code. At the time of the filing, the national organization had been named in 275 existing lawsuits for allegations of sexual abuse and had been provided information by attorneys representing additional plaintiffs on roughly 1,400 additional claims, roughly 90% of which alleged abuse more than 30 years ago. The intent in filing the reorganization was designed to help resolve allegations of abuse in those existing lawsuits and from those thousands more that hadn't been filed in court. The cost of continued litigation by the National Council over the last several years had exceeded over $120 million, and it proved unsustainable. And so the filing was initiated, and communications went out to the Scouting family to explain that. Ultimately, a court-approved reorganization plan would allow the organization, Scouting at the national level, to negotiate a plan to establish a victims' compensation trust and to emerge from bankruptcy through a court-approved reorganization plan. As part of this reorganization effort, a preliminary injunction was sought and approved by the court to halt litigation at the national and local council level while negotiations are taking place. This preliminary injunction has been extended several times, but must periodically be renegotiated for extension between the litigation parties. The most current period ends next Friday on March 19th. Now, in conjunction with the legal counsel being provided to the National Council by Sidley Austin, LLC, and a firm called Morris, Nichols, Arsht, and Tunnell, LLC, our group of local councils are receiving support from what we call the Ad Hoc Committee of Local Councils, led by representatives of 8 councils across the United States. And we've been receiving pro bono legal representation from the firm of Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz. And they have been leading the effort with the 253 local councils to coordinate our efforts in support of the National Council reorganization. This has been very fortunate. That firm that I'd mentioned for the Ad Hoc Committee is based in the state of New York. They were very motivated as a council because of the recent change in their laws with regards to abuse litigation. And they've worked very well, in my opinion, in keeping us working together towards a common defense. One of the things I do have to mention is us as Council Key Threes and our local legal representation have entered into a joint defense common interest and confidentiality agreement to work collectively for a common defense. So there are some things that I've been made aware of as part of our Council Key 3 that I'm unable to share, but I'm going to do my best today to more broadly explain to you what's been taking place. Now, negotiation between the key participants, the National Council, plaintiff attorneys, creditors, additional litigants, began shortly after the Chapter 11 filing in mid-February, and our members of the ad hoc committee began meeting in earnest on March 5th of last year. By early June, an agreement was reached between the litigants to establish a bar date or a cutoff for victims of alleged abuse to come forward and file allegations by November 16th of last year, after which allegations that may have occurred prior to the date of filing of the Chapter 11 reorganization would no longer be able to be filed in court or would be barred. We've all lived through that. We saw the efforts by the plaintiff attorneys to advertise on behalf of abuse victims to come forward to file claims. The National Council, as I think everybody knows, had its own noticing campaign to also allow abuse victims to come forward with an offer to receive counseling and other assistance. And in the end, by that November 16th cutoff, an additional or total of 95,000 claims were filed by potential abuse claimants. One of the things I'd mentioned is reported in the press at time of filing, the National Council was reported to have $1.2 billion in total assets, and as an aggregate, our 253 local councils were reported to have $3.2 billion, as publicly reported in the annual IRS Form 990 filings. These are available publicly. Of those 3.2, it's really about closer to 3.3 billion. 2.1 billion was in real property and 1.2 billion in cash and investments. That'll come into play, with regards to the financial settlement, that we hope to have established through a victim's trust. What we have been doing in parallel with the National Council and the ad hoc committee is we have been providing information to the ad hoc committee in terms of financial assets divided by donor restricted, unrestricted assets in the form of cash, properties, and investments. And this information has been secured in a lockbox, not generally available to the National Council nor plaintiff attorneys, but this is to be considered in part as part of a global financial settlement along with the national organization and liability insurers for the establishment of a victim's trust. At the time that this was taking place, we were asked to, again, share our records to the National Council of what we knew of past abuse incidents within the footprint of the MCC. And as we had reported through our board and also to the National Council, we were aware of somewhere between 60 and 65 abuse claims, most occurring between the years of 1940 and 1980, and none within the Michigan state statutes of limitation, which are 7 years for criminal conduct and 10 years for civil conduct. After the bar date was reached and plaintiff attorneys were directed by the court to turn over their allegation records to the National Council, we were further directed to evaluate information provided, regarding past membership and information we may have known with regards to the allegations. As has been reported to our board, over 1,800 allegations were assigned to what we call the footprint of the MCC that were alleged by people over the period of scouting, that the National Council was able to share with us. And within the last 20 years, where we were asked to provide additional detailed information, there were somewhere between 15 and 30 allegations that had taken place. So one of the things that we were asked to do was provide additional information on those cases to see what we knew, confirm the membership of those allegation or alleged victims, and so forth. So, there's a pretty good disparity between what we knew and what was reported to the plaintiff attorneys, but that's, normal for this type of a torts claimant process. Now, over time, we've been working with two groups of plaintiff attorneys, one called the Torts Claimant Committee, representing 10 law firms, and their plaintiffs have been more active in court. They were actually the group that was in conversation with the National Council before bankruptcy. And the other major group of litigants that we've learned go by the name of the Coalition. They've been a little more amenable to work with in terms of negotiation. And, we're working essentially with these two groups of plaintiff attorneys as part of the negotiation process. Now, one of the things that I'll share is that, as a part of these type of reorganizations, there are mediators typically brought in that are agreed to by both plaintiffs and defendants. They've been working with the parties since early this year, I guess actually late last year, to ultimately work towards a reorganization plan and talk about restructuring. One of the things that we are seeking as a part of this process is to be included in what's called a channeling injunction, that if approved by the court, can funnel tort claims of abuse to a litigation trust for helping fund compensation to those that have been harmed, but also allow the BSA to continue, as an organization and to emerge from bankruptcy. This would cover any claims that were filed through the bar date process up to the date of filing of the Chapter 11 organization. Now, one of the things that we've been actively involved with as part of the ad hoc committees is to develop contribution formulas for each of the local councils to contribute to an eventual victims trust, along with contributions from the National Council itself and the litigation insurers, of which there's two major groups. We've gone through a couple of iterations to refine those contribution formulas with the ad hoc committee and have come to the board on two occasions to determine what our willingness as an organization is to contribute to this victims trust. But this has been done in a non-binding manner. In other words, the ad hoc committee and the National Council is trying to get a sense, what the local councils may be able and willing to contribute towards a victims trust. This is in our benefit to do because of the potentially high cost of litigation, the number of claims that are within our footprint, valid or otherwise. And frankly, I think this is a good path that we need to consider. The litigants, the BSA, the creditors and plaintiff attorneys have been working towards a plan of reorganization. And there are several things that, I do want to share, that play into this eventual settlement. One of the things that has to be worked through is the National BSA has a pension plan for its professional staff, and through evaluation, as many of these pension plans are, is about $1.1 billion underfunded. So there's a lot of incentive for all parties to work towards a Chapter 11 reorganization rather than to allow negotiations to become deadlocked and to force a Chapter 7 filing, which we don't want, which would then involve the liquidation of assets from the National Council and, to solve any claims. One of the reasons this is very important is that in the event that we can't come to an agreement, this $1.1 billion would have to be covered by the scouting organization to make whole, to the extent possible, the amount that would be needed by the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, otherwise known as the PBGC, that would take over the pension obligations for the BSA if they were to cease operations. So naturally, we want to continue the scouting movement. The plaintiff attorneys want to get paid their legal fees and establish the victims trust, and the other claimants, of the national reorganization want to get their piece as well. But that having been said, things are moving in a positive direction. Negotiations have been very active recently because of the deadline to extend this preliminary injunction. There's a court hearing this next Wednesday with the judge to discuss the status of the negotiations. The National Council has shared that they have recently completed negotiations with their major creditor, JP Morgan, through the official Committee of Unsecured Creditors in conjunction with the Creditors Committee. The PBGC is a member of this committee, and they've negotiated favorable terms with their lender in preparation for reorganization. And that was a big win recently. The National Council also amended their 5-year plan of reorganization with the bankruptcy court, which includes a significant portion of BSA unrestricted non-core assets not subject to liens by its secured lender, which is JP Morgan. And of that, based upon feedback from the local councils, this amended plan of reorganization has announced a promise of a contribution of at least $300 million from the local councils to the trust. This is based on the effort that we're doing. This is important as a part of the negotiation process because the plaintiff attorneys, see local council assets as part of a total settlement. And so, we're doing our part to help contribute to an eventual settlement. Now, one of the things that I do want to share is that the liability insurance or insurers, Chubb Limited, Hartford Financial Services, is not yet settled, but they've also been in conversation with the judge, Judge Silverstein, to allow discovery into the methods that the plaintiff attorneys have used to accumulate these 95,000 claims. Back during the period prior to the bar date, there were some concerns that were raised back in September of last year, about what were perceived as unfair or inaccurate claims being made by the attorneys, where the judge, directed some changes to be made. So, there are some concerns there. This is a natural move by the liability insurers to reach a fair settlement as a part of this effort. And I expect that that'll be a good bit, of the conversation that'll take place next Wednesday. They would like to do what's called discovery to look into the methods the plaintiff attorneys have used to file these claims, as in their contention, about 11,676 of these are duplicates, 7,000 do not identify a perpetrator, 4,700 have no affiliation with scouting, and at least under current state laws, 54,000 are time barred, by the states, as a result of statute of limitations. So, this is part of the negotiation process that goes on when making a settlement of this type. Negotiations have actively been going on with the various organizations. One group of plaintiff attorneys has been more active than the other, but no agreement has yet been reached. So to summarize things, we're really working towards a continued commitment towards compensating victims of past abuse and to be able to continue Scouting's mission. The important thing here is the negotiations are really at a critical point right now. There's limits to what I can share as part of those entrusted, as part of the process. But in the end, things are trending in the right direction. The National Council is working towards a date of emerging from bankruptcy, if approved by the court, later on this summer. And that'll depend on, reaching a settlement, with the affected parties. So, Mark, that pretty much covers what I wanted to. I can entertain a few questions if we have the time.
Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate that update. I don't see any questions in the chat at the moment. I've been watching that as you've been speaking, and so right now there are no questions that I can see. So if anybody has any questions, we'll give it another 20, 30 seconds. And if not, we will move on to our next speaker.
Okay, let me just mention one more thing. What I would like to ask all those that are listening today is, to continue to serve our units as we always have been through Scouting. Collectively, we're doing the very best we can for the sake of helping Scouting to continue going into the future. There's a lot of work that has been going on behind the scenes. what we've been able to share with our executive boards and our executive committees and our membership. We've done what we can do, as individual councils towards this effort, but we need to keep things confidential in places while those agreements are being worked out. There is one question that I see from Jack Tempsey. Is there any information on the new alignment and description from national? I presume that you're talking about the national service territories. Mark, I'm not sure if you have that built into your agenda today. There is some information I've shared in the past.
No, we don't. If you wanted to share something. Did you see that through the chat, Kevin? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm looking at the chat.
Okay.
It was sent to me privately.
Oh, privately. Okay. I didn't come to me personally, or to everyone, so that's why.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
what I will do, Jack, is I'll pass some information back through Mark that can be shared with others, at least as far as that part of the realignment.
Okay. I did get one comment. It says, "Thanks for the update, Kevin. It is much appreciated."
Okay, very good.
And Mr. Foster was the person that said that, but I'm sure everybody else feels the same way, and I feel the same way. So thank you very much.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So our next speaker, sorry, get my screen to work here. Apologies. Is Dave Berger. He's our ACC of Technology. And Dave, you'll be sharing your screen, so I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Actually, I'm trying to share right now, and it says
okay.
host disabled participants. So if you could please enable that.
Try again, Dave.
Okie doke. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
You're good. You're
Okay,
good.
great. Good morning, everyone. My name's Dave Berger, and I'm an Assistant Council Commissioner for Technology. And I've been asked to share some updates that have occurred over the past year to MyDOT Scouting tools that are available to us as volunteers. Actually, when preparing this, I found out that there was quite a bit of activity going on this past year, and it's been good, despite everything else that's been happening down there in Texas. So I'd like to get into the presentation here. So in addition to logging contacts under contacts at the district level, everybody I hope knows how to go into Commissioner Tools and at the district level, take a look at the units that are there. If you click on contacts over in the left, I happen to drill down into Sunset District here, my home district. And you select a unit and then click on print. There are some new reports available this year to us. One is called the Activity Summary Report, another Advancement Report, and the unit charter. Those have been added, and I'm just going to take you through each one of those briefly. The Activity Summary Report, basically takes information that units enter into Scoutbook for their youth and adults. You can see some of the information that's added regarding campouts, service projects, hikes, and long cruises for ships. It's synchronized. So the Scoutbook is synchronized with the national database. So this is information that you don't have to enter like you do with contacts. It's something the unit enters into their Scoutbook. When you get to this point, it asks you a from and to date. So you can select that there, and then you click run. It's pretty easy, and this will give you the information that the units entered regarding all of those things you see there on your screen, the camp out service projects and hikes for youth and adult. And it'll give you a summarization at the bottom for the service hours and the Good Turn for America summary. So this is a nice report to give you additional information on your units that you can include in your detailed assessments. The advancement report, likewise, is another thing that is information that is from the Scout book that the unit enters and synchronized with the national database. Again, you enter the from and to dates. In this case, I said, give me all of June and hit run. And it gave me the member name, what they've earned, and any advancement that they have. So this is a nice tool too. And you get a summary at the bottom there of how many ranks and how were earned, how many adventures done, and how many awards earned. And this is the printout of the charter, which we're all very familiar with. Won't spend any time on that. Okay, so also from the district level, there is a reports menu option over on the left. And you can specify dates for that also. If you don't, it defaults to this year. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but I did want to mention the assigned and unassigned report. That's one that is new. They combined 4 different reports into this one, and it happened to be a pretty good place to look at the charter renewal dates. I was looking at it to see which units had been posted. You know, they got the new expiration date there, so that's kind of a neat thing to see there. So continuing on down the list of different reports that are available, I wanted to mention the detailed assessment with comments. While the detailed assessment report is not new, they did add comments. So those comments that you enter are now available on the reports, which is a nice feature because before we would have to go in and look at each unit for the comments made in detailed assessments. And for simple assessments also, you can see that there. But now it's included in the report that you can just download and look right through. It's great. And then the last one that I wanted to bring to your attention was the units with a service plan. In the detailed assessments, there is the ability to add service plans. And I'll get into that a little bit, but there is a report that shows that. And just recently I was asked, some of you might recognize this District Commissioner Visual Contact Analysis tool. It's something that's available on the web, but I have the Excel version that I modified to include detailed assessments without a service plan and those with a service plan. So you can see I still use the same orangish color for a detailed assessment, but the lighter shade is for the assessments without the service plan, ones with a detailed assessment with this service plan. And I'm not picking on Sunrise, but they had one of the charts that looked the best as far as showing that contrast between them, and so I thought I'd show that. And I actually drilled down into one of those units, which we'll see on the next screen here. I went into that troop 1402, I think it was. And when you go into view a unit, you can see the contact summary there. And you know it's a detailed assessment with a service plan because it's got the little service plan clipboard there in that contact summary. And then if you click on the 3 dots, you can view or print the detailed assessment. And I just happened to view it. And you can go down through the different segments of the service plan, but I just was, I wanted to focus on the unit service plan here. because they've enhanced this over the past year. There's a completion date now that's there, and you can actually go in and make comments even after the ordinary time period for the making comments on an assessment, and you can keep making comments on the different actions that are done to meet the goal of the service plan, right up until you actually complete. You put a completion date in there. So that's a nice feature to be able to continually update that until it's complete. And I think Dan Willoughby is going to go into a little bit more detail on the detailed assessments with the service plans. Okay, the next report type that I wanted to bring to your attention was the it was member manager. It's now called roster. And when you pull up a roster, I happen to be at the district level here, and I click on reports. There's one in here that was added. It's the membership totals report, which is a good report. It replaces the district totals report that we could only get previously from professionals that ran it from their ScoutNet account, which is it's nice to be able to see those totals. And this is that report. You can see that it goes down for each unit. They list them by crew, then pack and troop and ship and so forth. And it's got the charter, the unit number, the charter org, the membership profile there, and their unit expiration date. So you can get that recharter date from there too. Also, I was asked to talk a little bit about Training Manager. You should all have access to that at your district level. There's a few reports in there. There's the district contact report, which identifies the key 3 in each of the units. There's the trained leader report, and there's the YPT aging reports. It's really good to know how to get to those trained leader and YPT aging reports for your units, so that you can see who needs to take YPT, especially when they at recharter time. And then we want to make sure that all of our leaders are trained. And this report will show you. I'll get into it in a moment, but it'll show you basically each of the leaders and their trained status, and if they're not trained, what they need to take to get trained. So this is the district contact report, and you can see I've only got 2 units listed here in Sunset. I just did that screen capture, but it shows the chartered org rep, committee chairman, and cub master for the each of these 2 units. And I blanked out the email and phone just for privacy reasons, but it does include that there also, and their YPT status is also included over there. There is another way to get to these reports rather than going through clicking the report button at that district level. If you're looking at the district dash or the unit dash, you'll see the pie charts for trained leader and YPT. You can click on those report buttons, but additionally, if you only want to look at the leaders that are not trained for your particular unit, you can click on that red slice in the pie there, and that'll bring up a report only for those leaders that are not trained. So that's a nice feature that I wanted to bring to your attention. So this is the trained leader report. I couldn't capture all of it on one screenshot because there's so many columns associated with it. I usually print out the CSV file to get all of these details, but it basically gives you the unit, the person's name, where they're located in which unit, their member ID, which program they're in, their registration expiration date, their email. But then down at the far right of the screen, it would have their position, whether they're a direct contact leader or not, their trained status. The mandatory training, obviously, is the youth protection, the Y01. If there's any classroom training that they need for their position, and then the online training component that they would take through the MyDOT Scouting Learn Center. And here it shows which courses are complete and which ones they still need to do. Those SCO, those are the online courses that they can put into their learning plan and take. So this is a nice report. This is the YPT aging report. And in this report, it it shows you their status over there on the right. Again, it shows, well, it does show you all of their information, which units they're in, their position, and their status. But one of the things that I like to do with this particular report, you can see I've got a little note there in red. There's some arrows there that you can sort on. And so what I do is I usually sort in date order, so that I see in this particular unit that they're pretty good for their YPT up until October, when their first leader needs to renew this year. So there's a couple there that you want to keep an eye on for rechartering, that they renew there. You can see there's one in October, one in November. So so this is a really good report for commissioners. As far as Commissioner Tools training goes, there's been when they came out with the version 2 of Commissioner Tools, there's been PDFs available and documents to talk about these different topics: the navigation and simple assessments, the detailed assessments in the unit service plan, the reports, the tools for administrative commissioners and for roundtable commissioners. And that was phase 1. Phase 2, and I've also got the link here for you to actually go out there. And if you wanted to, some of you administrative commissioners, if you want to download, or anybody for that matter, those PowerPoints to share with others, you can do that. But there's also some video training modules that are now available, and this is part of phase 2 of the new Commissioner Tools that was rolled out. And for each of those topics, and a couple more here, there are videos now available. The Commissioner Tools Supports Commissioner Objectives is kind of an intro video, and then you can see the same navigation and simple assessments, the detailed assessments, the tools, the administrative commissioner and roundtable commissioner tools. And then they have a video that talks about the advancement activity summary and unit charter and how to print those out, which we just kind of reviewed. So there's some videos out there that are nice. Now, the only thing about these, they're good videos, but they don't, they're not linked to the BSA Learn Center. So it doesn't record it in your training history as you have taken this training. It's just a helpful video. So that's the only caveat. They're still working on adding it to the BSA Learn Center, but it's not there yet. So that was pretty much what I had prepared. Are there any questions?
So far not, Dave. I've been monitoring the chat, and we don't have any questions. Anybody have anything at the moment?
I did see some chats come through on mine, so there may be some private ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I would ask if you have a question, please ask it to everyone. So when you hit the chat feature, make sure it's to everyone so I can see it, and we can, and everybody else knows what your question is. Appreciate that. Okay, you have Dave. You say you have a question you have directly to you.
So let me I just opened my chat here. So let me take a quick look.
Oh, I did a couple that come in. Can you please share a link to the training? And that
Yes.
this slide will have those links on it. Is that, will those be live links on, or are those just images, Dave?
Oh, those would be live. Mhm.
Okay, so
I
when
put the
we-
link into the PowerPoint, so if somebody were to download that and click on the link, it should take them right to that page. Yep.
Okay, great. So those links, when we send out the updates and the slides from this discussion, those will be in there. And then can you, another question, can you please send out the updated district contact stats report format?
Yeah, that's something that if you are okay with putting it in the Dropbox or whatever, we can download that and share that there if you want.
Okay, sure. All right, any other questions for Dave while we have him? How do you find out which training, how do you find out which this training is connected to?
Ah, okay, that's a good question. Like SCL 1000, I see that in the chat there.
Yeah.
That I actually in the report that I provide to district chairs, I include all the different SCO codes and what they correspond to. So I can put something together and you know, you can put it in the Dropbox, Mark, if you want, that has a list of all the different SCO codes and their corresponding course titles.
Okay. All right, we can get together after this and figure out how to do that. Great question. Anybody else while we have Dave here? All right. Well, thank you, Dave. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
as always, very enlightening and sharing the latest and greatest on Commissioner tools. Okay. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our MCC Assistant Council Commissioner, Mr. Ron Garrison, who's going to talk to us about Commissioner Web resources. So Ron, I don't know if your microphone is off mute at this point, but you are next up on the hip parade.
Okay, let's get going because it looks like you're tight for time. Appreciate the first slide there. Thanks,
No
Mark,
worries.
for the invitation to come as well. Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Yep, so that's all we need. I didn't want to make this too technical, so I thought I would give it kind of as a storyline to give you a little background. We're developing commissioner resources that will be located on the Michigan Crossroads Council website. So how did we get there? We're going to take a look at what is on the Michigan Crossroads Council website right now as resources that are available for our use. Next. If you go to the opening screen that you have and move your cursor over the word resources, this little drop-down menu occurs. And over on the left-hand column, down about the fourth one, is the word resources. And it is available if you want to click and see what we have that's called Commissioner Resources. And when you click on what is circled above, it will open a resource page. Next. This is the one page that we have out there. And we feel that there's an opportunity to expand a lot of the resources that we want to make available on there. So you'll notice on the right or left-hand side of the column is the resources available to the commissioners. On the right-hand side with the icon above it is kind of the national resources. The information on this page is very generic, and the website could be highly valued as a resource for commissioners if we put the right courses there and put them on their fingertips. It's not the intent of this effort to repeat any information that is already contained in the commissioner's tools at my.scouting.org. So all Michigan commissioners would gain if we had a broader scope of the resources that was made available. And we want to do this with a maximum of 4 clicks to reach a final document, 4 clicks or less. We want it to be able to read easily and also be able to follow easily. So to know what the priorities of the commissioners are, we had a need for resources. So what we did is we developed a survey of which 20% of you responded to the survey. Next. Mark, next slide.
Sorry, Ron, my screen is not moving here.
Okay.
Apologies. If you don't mind, keep talking and I'm gonna see what I can do to.
Okay. Well, what we got listed on the screen here is I was going to show you the results of the survey, but let me tell you, thanks. We had 20% of our commissioners in the state respond to the survey itself. And so what we did is in the survey is we had all commissioners rate the resources on a scale of 1 to 5. If it was a scale, if you use the 1 value, you were really reflecting that there was no value in that information. But if you rate it as a 5, you're saying that as being highly valued. So all of the responses are registered right here. So the number 1 ranking, the number 1 with an average score of 3.41 was chartering processes. And if you look down there, then it's the calendar of commissioner events, training opportunities, webinars, going all the way down to the very last one, which was other resources that you could add in there. And we added one for commissioners in action, but we thought it would be nice to have some photos on it. That was the lowest scoring that we had. I just want to say something about this one right here. We have an assistant council commissioner, Scouter Rocky Euler, who is working on the calendar or the service plan. And it's our efforts to be able to provide the information as to what unit commissioners should be covering with their units on a monthly basis. And that will be coming out a little later on. The last one I have is this Commissioners in Action. I had a lot of comments back on that, hey, we're all commissioners. We don't need any of that. We don't need to pat ourselves on the back. We're there to promote the scouting activity among units. However, there are new commissioners coming in all the time. And with the photos, it gives us an opportunity to be able to introduce a commissioner to their particular staff, and they can see what they have done and what maybe some of the individual contributions are. Next. The next slide, when Mark gets it up here, is going to be from the scouting input. We're going to move ahead with 4 action items, and these action items are listed here. First is drafting a marketing proposal, requesting manpower and resources in order to expand the website to encompass all of the proposed resources for the commissioners. The request was sent to marketing in February, and we're waiting an approval to proceed. Conceptually, the proposed hierarchy was developed and accompanied the marketing proposal. And this is what is going to be covered in more or less useful today as commissioner resources. Number 3, we have to develop web panels, including purchasing models in order to activate and to protect the personal information. For instance, if we want to make contacts up there, we have to buy a module that will hold that information in order to make that work. We'll also need to provide an opportunity for input into the posted pages. That'll be down at the bottom. So if you have a comment on something like that, send that in there, and the commissioner that maintains that will address that issue. Several of the resources have to be maintained in order to stay current. So we're proposing that a volunteer commissioner be assigned to that task. Next slide. This is how you open it up, what we have, and I showed you this a little bit earlier. What we're proposing here is to either highlight the particular commissioner resources so that it stands out in that drop-down menu. We've also come up with an alternative that we maybe like to try, So if you just like to click Mark, we'll see if you can get that right there. The other thing that we can do is we can add another column to the drop-down menu. And this makes it real easy and saves us a page because on the Commissioner Resources, everything that's listed there, you'd be able to open up on the main menu and click exactly what you're looking for, whether it be training opportunities, general announcements, or upcoming seminars. Next. This is right here. We're going to have a rechartering process. We're not going to draft anything. We're just going to have it go right to the website that's also available out there. And we got a couple of recommendations for graphs and the like that we might be able to show on that particular section of it there for rechartering process. Next. We're also looking at developing the calendar of commissioner events and also what we're calling the monthly service plan for commissioners. This is being developed now as a monthly calendar that will lead the commissioner to a registration page. So if you want to go to a webinar, if you want to go to an activity, if you want to go to a training center, it's going to be listed on the calendar and it will allow you to go right there, as well as lists that will be updated on how the unit commissioners can carry out their monthly duties and obligations. Next. This is kind of a training opportunity. This will lead us to the page that lists council-wide commissioner training opportunities, which would include things as the College of Commissioner Science, the University of Scouting, and others offering commissioner training. In other words, we not only want to list what's available from the MCC, if we have a conflict in the schedule, it'd be nice to know what's going on maybe in Ohio or in Indiana or in an adjoining state, so that we could also attend. Next, commissioner webinars. We'll link the page displaying upcoming webinars. You have to register for the upcoming webinars and you'll receive a link to that particular webinar. And that way we know who's attending the webinars. Next, we'll have a page for general announcements. And what we want to do is probably copy either at the top of the page or the bottom of the page, kind of where we're at with the MCC, that you could take a look at it and see very clearly, or a unit commissioner take a look at this page and see where we're at within all of the council. It would also be, these statistics would have to be updated, as this is only a shot that's on there. And in order to have live data where it's automatically updated, we'd have to purchase another module in which to upload this information. So I think it may be easier because we have some other things that are higher priority rather than the general announcements. But we'd have an opportunity for general announcements, alert banners to come across this particular page that is saying, hey, rechartering is now open. You can get the list of that. Registration is now open here. We're having a problem with Commissioner Tools. The site is down. And then, oh, now the site's back up because we've got that taken care of. So all of this will be on this general announcement page. Next. This is kind of a contact any commissioner. And this would direct a page where you can take a look at a particular organization, whether it be the Great Lakes Division or the President Ford Division. There would be an associated organizational chart so that you could see who was in the place. And in order to protect the personal information that is on there, in other words, email addresses and the like, we're looking at developing a drop-down menu. If you were to put your cursor over the top of a name of an individual that, let's say, was an assistant council commissioner. Now, this is not active, but if you were to put that over the top there, you get a drop-down menu, and it would ask you for your email address, and it would ask you for the subject material. And then behind the scene, what you would do is click send, and it sends that email directly to that individual and asks them to respond back to you based on the subject material. That way, the information is not available to everybody out there in the way of email addresses and the like, so that there is some protection. Now, currently, we don't have that set up in our module on that. And for instance, if you go to the charter renewal site, and check that out right there. We actually post the charter renewal champions. And we have to have permission in order to be able to post that. Whereas this gives us a little bit more protection from the personal information of the individual, which would be a step up than what we have there. Next. The old awards side of it, this page would show some of the square knots that would be available to commissioners. It would also link to the individual awards and the scorecards that can be earned by the commissioners. Next. This would highlights the roles and responsibilities. Sometimes we need to know and understand what the roles are for the individuals. And by clicking on the different type of icons, what it would do is open up a link that would say, here's what a district commissioner roles and responsibilities and what they're accountable for, as well as assistant district commissioners, assistant council commissioners, and the like. Next. We're going to maintain the links that we have to national. So this would be a national site. So we would have links available to the National BSA Commissioner website, the Commissioner Manuals and Resources, Commissioner Recruitment and Retention, the National Commissioner Newsletter, and the BSA Commissioner Identity Products. In other words, if you want a coffee cup and you want to have the emblem for the commissioners on it, you would have access to be able to go these from this site right here. Next, please. This is the one that's Commissioner in Action. This will probably be the last one that we develop. This would be a place where we can put some photos in there. What we found in the survey is that either individuals were really hot or they were extremely cold on this concept. So it'll be the last one we develop, but it is a good place to know what other commissioners are doing, how they're performing in their roles and responsibilities. And it's a good opportunity for us to be able to introduce who those new commissioners are and a little bit of what they look like. Next. Okay, what I've got next is I've got it open for questions and answers and the like on that. Since we're having a little bit of difficulty getting that up there, I just would like to say this is a real dynamic area for us to move into, of really expanding the resources that are available out there. This is a work in project. As a result of it, we've got a lot of things to work on the like. So don't be surprised as we start rolling this out that it says at the top of the link that this is a work in progress and it's being developed. That way we feel what we do have as links and things, we can get those out there right away, and we'll be working on that throughout this year. So thank you, Mark, for inviting me to share what's going on in commissioning resources.
Thank you, Ron, and apologies for the glitches. Slow moving computer today. Let's check the chat room and see if there's any questions that have come in. Somebody said, I like the concept of another column for commissioners. So another one said, this is a great page. So that was a nice comment. There's one that says, buy is outdated. I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, any thoughts on those, Ron?
No, those are all pretty straightforward. Okay. We're gonna address most of those as we start to break out the details. I shared that we will have a contact point that you can send a message to, that if you see a page and you don't understand something looks like it's reported incorrectly, we got a typing error, just send that in on that particular page and we'd be glad to get it corrected for you. And that's the way that we'll keep the communications open, that if you've got an idea or a concept on a resource page, we can do something about it. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Couple more have come in. Steve Foster sent you an updated map. He sent it to you directly. And then we have a question: is there a time frame for rollout? Can you hear me, Ron? Okay. I guess we'll answer that question on time frame for rollout when we have a chance to send you, oh, Ron, you're muted. You know that?
There we go. Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry. So time frame for rollout. Do you have any thoughts on that?
That's a marketing question because we got the proposal. We're not going to proceed until marketing approves what we have on the table right now. And they're
Okay,
pretty busy right now at this time of the effort. But as soon as
Sure.
we can, we'll start making the changes.
okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Ron. Appreciate you taking the time to join us today. All right. At this point, we are getting ready to go into our break session. And again, my computer is glitching on me here, but for those of you that haven't elected to your breakout session yet, please go into the chat section and you will see instructions and you'll be able to select your breakout. So if you could do that, that would be great. We're actually going to cut our break, Chris and Scott, to 5 minutes. We're running a little behind schedule. So we're going to do a 5-minute break. So if everybody could just, at this point, if you haven't selected your breakout session, please go in and do that 1 through 5, and we will get you set up. Chris, Scott, any questions before we, at this point?
So we're just going to take a little bio break here for 5 minutes and then come back. Do you want everybody in their rooms in the next 5 minutes, or wait
Yes,
till we all
please.
get back?
Yeah. And for those that
Okay.
haven't been able to get into the rooms yet, please do that now. But yeah, let's plan to be back by 10:30. So right now it's 10:23 on my computer. Quick 5-minute break, and then at 10:30 we'll be in our breakout sessions and start those up. Our breakout sessions will, right now we have them planned for 25 minutes. We're going to try to keep as tight as we can on that, and then flip to our second session, which there will be a screen between after you get done with your first session to go in and select your second session. So what you did for your first session, please do that for your second session. And then after the second session is done, everybody will be brought back into the general meeting. So we'll actually be turning off the breakout rooms, and we'll all come back together and come into the final stretch of our program. If there's any questions, I'm just trying to make sure that there's no questions here. I think we're all set. And if you see on your screen, there's been several people that have explained how to go into your breakout sessions. If you have any questions, please look at those instructions. They're pretty self-explanatory. Thank you, and we'll see everybody in the rooms at 10:30.
Okay, we have some folks who have not been assigned or have not selected a breakout room. So if you would please do that now. Wayne Morley, Blue Star District.
Yeah, I'll get in there in just a second. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem.
My phone was, I don't know how to do a breakout on my phone right now.
We'll
That's
put you in there.
Robert.
Which breakout room do you want to go to?
Wasn't there one for like roundtable commissioners or commissioners?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, can you please put me in there? It's Robert Dunn and Rob Pote's with me as well.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Hey, Scott, can you put me in number 4? I don't have a green dot by my name, Ken Noren.
No problem, Ken.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, Scott, Gary Muir, can you put me in the, is it restarting units?
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah, I go with my boss.
Okay.
Coming to you from Pittsburgh.
Axel Anderson.
Yes,
What breakout room would you like to go to?
the Commissioner Recruiting.
Commissioner Recruiting, that is number 2. Okay, thank you, sir.
Gary,
I'm going to jump into number 4 if you guys don't mind.
go
Unless
ahead.
you guys need me for,
Nope, you're good.
thank you.
Dave Berger. Norm, what breakout room would you like to go to? And we have somebody here that's owner.
Did you get Axel assigned?
Yeah, I thought I did.
I don't see any green dots on the screen.
Oh, Axel, we'll send you in there. Which one did you want to go?
He's assigned, Scott, to number 2.
Okay,
Yeah, Scott, can you sign me to number 4, Nate Murray?
sure.
Don Brammer, can you sign number 1?
Jim Horick.
Hello?
Hi, Jim. What breakout room would you like to go to?
If you could give me unit restarts, please.
Okay. Number 4.
Done, he's gone.
Okay.
Sent it. iPhone. I'm still not seeing. The iPhone didn't let me move him.
Scott, this is Mike Haynes. I don't know what I show up. I'm on a phone in the car.
Okay. 3245. I see you. Which one would you like to go to?
Can you tell me what number 3 is?
Roundtable discussion?
No. Go ahead and put me in number 4, please. Thank you.
Unit restarts?
Yes, sir.
Here you go. Axel's still showing in. Axel, are you still out there?
Yes,
Which number did you want to go into?
2.
2.
Send you now. Okay.
Gerald from the Renaissance District.
Mark, I'm going to move you into 4.
Thanks, Scott. Or I can stay on until you get everybody else done.
Okay, either way. Sorry if I sent you there.
No, it's all right.
All right. You can jump in and out. You can go anywhere, Mark. You can just
Okay,
move in
all
and
right,
out.
thanks. I'll join there. Thanks.
Yeah, you can use your breakout little button and you can jump around all the different rooms and see how it's going.
Scott, looks like you can assign Rob Lester to breakout number 2.
I don't see, my list doesn't show him left up on here. I got 8,
Okay.
9 people.
You know what?
I'm gonna close and refresh. Hang on a
That's
second.
what I'm gonna do too. Yeah.
Okay, I see Mary Smith.
She should go to number 4.
Okay.
And we have Marty should go to number 5.
Yeah, I had them in those rooms. Okay.
Yep. They might have come back.
Okay. Our iPhone. Who is our iPhone?
Not sure. Dave Berger.
Yeah, I'm not iPhone. I'm just
Yep.
on the PC here. I'm juggling between 2 meetings.
Okay, got it. Then we have a Steve. Not sure of his last name. There is no last name. Steve.
Steve, where do you want to go? iPhone, are you there?
Okay, Gerald is going to go to number 3. Scott.
Gerald's at number 3. Okay, he's gone.
We have Frank Maynard in number 5.
Yeah, he's not showing on my list. Let me see if he's in 5. It's really odd. It says he's not joined, even though he put in here. Let me see if I can move him to another. It says he's not joined. Hey, Frank. Frank, are you able to move yourself in your breakout rooms on your button? It says you're in 5, but you're showing on the screen. It's not joined. Some kind of error. Owner, are you there? Owner, are you there? iPhone, are you there? iPhone, do copy. Art. Art. Can you stay in on it and find out what's going on in there? Well, yeah.
Hey, Scott, put owner in room number four, please.
I sent them, but it's interesting. So there's only it's just showing your iPhone is left. I sent iPhone off to the roundtable discussions.
Scott, I'm getting a lot of feedback on you.
I'm gonna jump over into roundtable. There's a lot of commotion going. Oh, okay.
These are cool too. Hello.
Hi, where do you want to go?
Gary, I should be in the breakout room 4, restarting units.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Why you jumped out?
Yeah, it's showing me, okay?
Okay, we'll need it for. Gary, are you out at the site?
What'd you say, Scott?
Are you out on? Are you out at the site?
No, I'm here, but it says, well, the video is stopped, but I'm trying to get into, I should be in site 4. It keeps inviting me to site 3.
Let me try it again. Are you
Okay.
Are you out at Proud Lake right now?
No, I'm in Pittsburgh at a Traderie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay.
Have a good show.
All right.
So,
Let me try to move you again.
I'm digging through patches. I'm in heaven.
Okay, cool. Move you. It's just me and you. I'm trying to move you out at 3. There you are. I'm gonna move you to. There you go.
Scott, your audio is bad.
No, is this better? I just moved this thing in front of mine. Is that all right?
No, there's still a lot of
Because I got all their stuff going on. Is that any better? No?
no.
I don't even know where the microphone is on this. Let me see if I mute and retry it again.
Check your audio settings too.
Is that any better? You there?
Yep, no,
Chris, can you hear me?
no, there's still a lot of, when you talk, there's a lot of,
How about this?
keep talking.
The scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful,
That's better.
friendly,
Yep.
courteous, kind. Okay. How's it now? I put something in. Is it sound muffled now? On my honor, I will do my best to do my
Nope.
duty.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. It's just a little slide that I have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got Gary into the right room now. He's still showing on the screen though, but it just says he's not joined. I don't know why. Hey, Gary, you should be able to join number 4. It shows you in the room, but not joined.
How do I join? I'm on my phone.
Look, you have an iPhone, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at your little, at the bottom, there's a little, or at the top in the left-hand corner, it says breakout rooms.
Okay, let me see. I think I got to get back to the screen. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How do I mean, should I, I'm on my main screens now, but I'm not seeing anything from
There
this.
should be a little thing, because I see that you're not great. It says you're not joined, but you do show up in the 4 room, but again, you're showing up on the main screen. I don't know how to.
How do I get back to the main screen on my phone?
There should be a little button that says leave breakout room somewhere on the iPhone, like on that screen. You might have to touch at the top or on the bottom. I can't remember without.
I'm on my main menu and I don't, because I'm not seeing the. Any idea how I go back to the leader, the things, or?
You should be able to go to there should be like in the lower bottom when you touch down on the bottom in one of the menus it says more.
Well, see,
I'm doing this
on
from memory.
I'm on my apps. My apps are all popping up, but nothing.
Oh, you're on the iPhone. I get what you're saying. I'm saying, do you have the button or no button on your phone?
I got an iPhone 11.
So you don't have the button on the bottom, right? So you would double tap somewhere, I think, and then it pulls up the. I don't have that version, and it should pull up the other. You can rotate in between the different apps.
Okay.
If not, I'll just wake my daughter up and tell her what.
The special ones.
Yeah, I'm not seeing how to do that.
Yeah.
Unless.
Try pulling down from the top of the screen.
Huh?
Try pulling down from the top of the screen.
It's nice when they do that, and we even had a couple years where
That's giving me my messages.
Okay. I'll try pulling up from the bottom of the screen.
now they don't do that. They know there's a market for them.
That doesn't always. Okay, there we go. Wait a minute. Unread flag. No, I can close. Okay, now I'm back to this where I'm speaking, but so it says your video is stopped, your microphone is muted. So do I want to leave? I'm in driving mode, so it's I leave.
Is there a breakout room?
No.
Okay, so you didn't. So what I would try to do is just leave and come back in, Gary, and then let's see if that'll work. Leave and then just come back into the meeting.
Well, they're recording all this, right? I can play it later.
Yeah, you can record it, and obviously, if you've been with us so far, it's nothing you don't know already. So
Yeah, I know, and I'm basically at this tradery, so there's a lot going on, okay?
I would just do that, Gary. It's recorded, and if there's something major, I mean, if you saw the first three things, it's nothing you didn't know already. So
Okay, sounds good. Have a good one.
you too. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Now it's just me and you, kid.
Yep, I'm eating toast.
So is the commissioners going to be moving all that stuff in there? I mean, on the website?
No, they'll be helping.
Yeah.
Ron and I have talked about the
Yeah, I'm here.
framework and that kind of stuff. So
I didn't know that. Since you're listening to that, I just kept muting so you didn't hear me talking to all these people.
yeah, no, that's fine.
So Chris, art's in my ear. So we're gonna do this one more time. We're gonna change everybody into another breakout.
Yeah,
We're not gonna be done in another half hour.
I know. 10 minutes or no? Yeah, 11.
11:30.
Yeah. Well, this one
So,
should.
we should think about that with all the stuff that you want to do at the store. I mean, not that I want to take money away from National, but hell, if we can get a better product with a better price, and then we can use it for MCC, why shouldn't you do it, right?
Yeah, no, I don't mind doing it. It's just an issue of bandwidth.
Yeah, I mean the coffee cups and all that other stuff. I can't imagine they're going to have a flood of whatever, but they could then have we could not only have Commissioner whatever, we could have Michigan Crossroads Council on it, right?
Yep.
And doing the coffee cups is no big deal all day long. That coffee cup that they have in there, right now, that's like the most common coffee cup. They probably got 500 of them sitting on the shelf right now of those. You and I could go there right now, make one, and have it done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
actually a coffee cup imprinter. It literally it's a heat press. It sits in there. You put your sticker on it after you put your screen on it, and boom, it's done.
Yeah.
6 minutes and you're done.
Yep. No, I don't have any problem putting it on our online store, but it's just a matter of bandwidth.
I just thinking the more we can generate, God, could you imagine if we could make a couple $100,000 on the online store?
Sure.
Put that back into the coffers instead of sending everybody out.
How come I can't go to a breakout room?
You should just go down to breakout rooms.
I don't see breakout
Oh,
rooms.
no. You see the list of all the breakout rooms?
No.
You should be where it says breakout rooms.
No, I don't have it.
On the bottom. Lower,
No.
on the very bottom.
Don't have it.
Oh, dude, what version are you using Ring Central Meetings?
Yeah.
Is it actually called Ring Central Meetings, or are you using the other Ring Central app?
No, I'm Ring Center Meetings.
Huh. Because you should have, and Art's got it on his. And on the bottom, there's a breakout down the bottom.
No, don't see it. Invite.
Join breakout. Gerald, roundtable, ask for help. Why does he need help? Hang on a second.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
BSA breakout, and we've actually had pretty good participation prior to the COVID break. And then also we've had pretty good participation online as well. But we did try to model our Scouts BSA sessions as kind of things you can do for your troop virtually. So we actually had a couple of really good things that we did. Well, we showed them the Pringles Ringle. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but if you can do that with your troop or with your units, you can do it for the younger units too. Of course, it's a little STEM based. I'm a little STEM biased. But you basically take like the large can of Pringles and you try to make a ring out of it, and you can look it up. It's called Pringles Ringle.
I don't know.
And the kids had a blast with that. All ages they have done it, and it was kind of cool for them to interact online to, like, you know, kind of compete, like who could do it sooner. And then we also did, I had a Price is Right thing that we did at our work with different prices, and we did some like camp out type stuff and some like really kind of off the wall things like a spinning fork, and they had to kind of guess the prices, and we used it as an opportunity to talk about the personal we talked about one of the merit badges that they have to do for their personal management merit.
Chris, did you get that notification? I'm going to close the rooms and continue on. You copy, Chris?
Yeah, that will push them back to the main room.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the second rooms we're having, so no one said anything. I can rename the rooms or whatever, but so.
No, they're the same ones.
So should we kick everybody out, or are they starting the second session?
No, everybody comes back to the main session.
Okay, I'm closing it out now. Closing all rooms. Gonna cut Keller off. Mark, all the rooms are closed, and it's yours.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. All right. We're all back in, including the presenters. I just came out of a breakout room where they were saying, do we just stay in our room? Well, I guess you have your answer. You don't stay in your room. So at this point, do what you did before. Pick your next number. And we will, in fact, does everybody have their numbers memorized at this point? I probably need to share my screen to get that up there so you can see what to focus on. Hang on a second.
I got it, Mark.
You got it? Okay, thanks,
Yep.
Chris.
Yep.
All right, if everybody could pick their next number, and you will be placed in your room shortly. Thank you.
Hey, Scott, for some reason I can't move. Can you send me to 4 again?
Sure.
Thanks, bud.
Because people were supposed to change their numbers.
Somebody put me into room 3, please. This is Robert. Then my phone.
I'm in the same room, Scott.
Yeah, Scott, I'm in the same room too because I'm helping Lonnie.
Scott, can you put me in room 1?
Oh, wait, Dave Putt's going to be in room 3?
I'm in room 2 with Lonnie again.
Oh, okay.
Make
Dave,
sure
thanks,
you leave
by
your
the way.
numbers the same, and then we'll send it all back together. Just you have a minute to change your numbers, and then
Okay.
we'll send everybody off to where they want to be.
Okay, good.
You're awesome, Scott Waldron. and Chris
Just-
Hopkins.
We got
Thank you, guys.
95 on now, but we had 106 people today.
Scott, we love you.
Did we
Just
scare
a
some
minute.
people off?
We're gonna
in that
open.
last go-around?
So make sure you
Are
change
you
your
sending
numbers,
them to
everyone.
where they want to go or where they need to go?
Either way.
I want to go to lunch.
Yeah. I can rename the 6th room there for that.
Yeah, careful, Chris, with what you suggest.
Sending them to where they need to go could be considered a loaded question.
Let us know where you get sent, Chris.
Time out.
Chris is getting disconnected.
Everybody, as we speak. And in just a minute, I'm going to open them up. If you're in the wrong room and you've got the right number, we'll come through and move you.
Round table.
Scott, have the room numbers changed? I was in 2 and I want to stay in 2.
No, you'll stay in 2. Leave your number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Recruiting is still number 2.
Okay.
This is Axel. I'd like to go to number 3.
Oh, hang on then.
Dennis Callio, number 1.
Okay, one moment. We're halfway there.
You're only halfway there, Scott.
Yeah. Half full, half empty.
Yep, he's neither up or down. Oh, you missed.
Just think, everyone, next year we might be able to meet in person.
That'd be wonderful.
That
would
would be
be.
good.
Let's make it a goal.
So when did we actually think that we would be able to meet in person, and what would that entail? Because the paperwork is a little daunting on my end of thinking about who I'd have to get paperwork from, because some of them are in units and some of them are not in units, that they get collected the COVID paper from them. So I'm just curious.
Everybody that shows up needs the same paperwork.
But who's going to be in charge? Are we going to be in charge of keeping it, or do you have to show it? I was just trying to think about how the logistics of this going, because I'm thinking by August we should be able back in person, but I don't, if we were going to do in person and not online or a hybrid.
I don't see why it would be a problem for whoever is checking you in to collect those. As far as the waivers and everything, you just need one waiver on file. And then for the rosters, it's the same thing. Everybody does their rosters, you do your temperature checks, and everybody signs in, I'm sorry, and you do your temperature check, and that should take care of all the paperwork.
Okay. Ours is much more of a free-for-all when we usually meet. So we have like 6 doors to a huge church, and people don't necessarily, they at some point get to the attendance table, but it'll probably have to be, I guess, more streamlined than I've used to having them.
Yeah, you may have to tell everybody just to, as soon as you come in, sign in and get your temperature checked.
We have to take it down to one entrance, one way in, one way out type thing.
That's what we did in our units when we were doing in person. You got to control the entryway and make sure that's the check-in point. It's the best way to do it.
I don't think we're gonna go back to live, except for occasionally, just so we can, actually stand in a parking lot.
We're already meeting in person under the new COVID restrictions in the state, and we do have restricted entry that they only come in one door, and the first thing they're greeted with is temperature checks and a sign in to make sure that they've got all the waivers and stuff like that. And before they even show up there, we have a Google Forms that goes out to everybody in the unit, in which they have to do the typical questionnaire that you would get when you go to your doctor's office or anything like that, and that is put on file with the troop, and the committee can see all of that, determine whether or not there's anybody that's supposed to be there or not supposed to be there, and you have to show them. It sends you a confirmation email that when you go in and when you go to check into the meeting, you have to show them the confirmation email that you did fill that questionnaire out.
So what do you do at the door if they forget it and leave it on the kitchen table?
Send them home.
Oh, no, they don't have to bring that questionnaire. The Google Forms, they fill that out online, and that goes back as a permanent record in the troop. And what the email
what do you do when
is
they
it
forget
shows
it?
confirmation that they filled it out. And
We
then
have
and then the leadership of the unit has access to all the forms that were filled out, and they can screen them to determine who was not supposed to be at the meeting, and if they show up there, they're sent home.
So if they show up without the Google form being filled up, they're sent home.
Yeah, if they don't fill it out, they're asked to fill it out. They can fill it out right there because it's an online thing. It only takes 5 minutes or so. But if they did fill it out and the answer to any of their questions determines that they should not be at the meeting, they will be sent home.
How are we doing,
Great.
Scott? Just checking in. How
Everybody, we're all set. I was just waiting for everyone to finish the conversation.
Thank you. I figured you were. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, and off you go. Everybody, whatever's left at the top. Hello, 1-586-672-67125. That's 586-726-7125. Is there a breakout room you would like to go to?
Main meeting.
Which meeting was that, sir?
Pardon?
Which meeting was that?
This was the commissioner conference meeting.
Right. We're in breakout rooms right now, and you came back in. Where would you like to go?
Well, I can't get you on my computer, so I wanted to go back to the main meeting. I thought we had already just closed out the meeting
We
room.
did, and then everybody chose their second session that they want to attend, and now they're all in their
Oh,
second
okay,
sessions.
okay.
So what would
I'd
you
like
like?
to go. Let's go with the rechartering lessons learned, please.
Okay, that's number one. I'm sending you there now.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Scott? Hello?
What breakout room would you like to go to, Gerald?
I was in and I'd like to go to back to 3. I was
Back to
having some
3.
problems and I guess when I fixed the problem, it kicked me out.
Kicked you out. Okay, we'll put you back in the 3.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Sorry, I walked away for a second. Jerry, where do you want to go?
I need to go back to 3. I was trying to fix my microphone issue and it kicked me out totally.
Where do you want to go? Round
3.
table or where?
Yeah, round table.
Sending you back, sir.
Thank you. I was there.
You're welcome.
Couldn't say anything.
Yeah. Here you go.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Chris? Chris?
Yep.
Were you calling me?
Yeah, no, never mind. No, it was Gerald. Looks like we've only got Jack.
You need to pop in the round table because there's several people that are talking about all their MailChimps and all their lists and the stuff that the unit serving executives are giving them. They've got all these other systems running with our data on it.
All right, can you put me in there?
Yeah, and they're posting links like to the Zoom meetings and public Facebook places, and yeah, I don't want to be the bastard, but hang on, I'm going to send you over to. Hang on a second. Yeah, there are a couple people that were talking about it, and even the private troops. They don't realize that they can't be posting this stuff. Hang on.
Yeah.
With the information. Hang on. We're breakout rooms here. I'll send you. Where's Chris? Why can't
is we have a questionnaire and it says what breakout do you want to be in, and then this way, prior to the new the new Zoom feature of choosing your own room makes it a lot easier. But before that, it was easy to move people to the breakouts because I would have a list of who needed to be where. But this helps out when we put our attendance into the system. I've got I forward that to our commissioner that posts all that for us. And it just makes it real easy. You have that nice Excel spreadsheet that has everyone that's been there. And it's just a lot easier than, I found that that's the best way of taking attendance without a sign-in sheet.
Okay, so for you that wasn't your objective, was for security, but that was the side benefit from doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can see who's on there, and if there's someone, if I look on the list, there's someone I don't know, we always can, control that.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll take it from the other side of the security aspect. So a couple roundtables back, we normally post our Zoom link on our private district page. Someone had picked up and shared the link on a non-private page, and my roundtable got bombed. We quickly shut it down and reformed a new link and sent it out to the leaders that were on. But it brought to mind, what are we doing for security practices? So we've tried a couple different things of trying to, we did a registration this month. We only got like 8 people instead of, a little bit bigger. And we had a lot of last minute registrations. So when we promoted it on our Facebook group, hey, here's the link to come register for Roundtable this month. And then we could control the attendance a little bit more. Change some security settings of who can coming in with muted mics and stuff like that, to, again, just trying to mitigate the event that your link gets picked up and shared on some of these Zoom bombing sites. Anyone else?
I think that BSA actually issued guidelines on that. For example, having the waiting room in place, locking the meeting after 15 minutes or a half an hour or something.
That's correct. There was a girl unit that published their link on Facebook and Instagram and promptly attracted some creepers that created an issue.
Adam, this is Joe Ayudo from Blue Water. And prior to the second shutdown, we created a hyper roundtable where we had both face-to-face and we had the virtual aspect of it. And we probably doubled our numbers when we did that. Now, when we had the shutdown again, we lost a lot of our attendees because a lot of our older leaders, they weren't familiar with Zoom. And then a lot of the leaders were telling me, especially on the Cubs side, that the kids needed to use the computer for schooling, so they didn't have an access to a computer. And being in Blue Water and in the Thumb area, we've got really poor computer internet connections, which really hampers us from doing a roundtable up here at times. So those 3 aspects kind of hurt us doing the virtual aspect.
Yeah. So that leads to some questions too, is what are people thinking about once we can start meeting in person again within a safe amount of people? Are you looking to go back to 100% in person, the combination, just stay virtual?
Well, so I know that we actually discussed it at our last roundtable, and we've got mixed responses, but I think that a lot of people like the convenience of signing in from their own home. Instead of, okay, I got to get out of work, I got to get home, I got to eat dinner, I got to change in my uniform, I got to get to the meeting place. And, you're out of breath by the end of all that. So, what I see us, what in Ottawa, we're probably going to do, and I heard it mentioned earlier, is probably meet in person once a quarter. Like, for example, we do a Weeblos Road Show where we have the troops show up and we have the Weeblos come and meet the troops. That hopefully will be in person this year, and that'll be one of our in-person meetings. But, you know, I really think for convenience for people, I think we're going to get better attendance, you know, with the Zoom, and then every now and then go into in person.
I agree. I think when we had our conference 2 years ago, last time we were in person down at the Dausch Center, one of the topics at our roundtable breakout was how do we get more people to participate in roundtable? And one of the things that came up was, could we offer something that people could participate like through a Facebook Live or whatever? Little did any of us know that we would have the opportunity bestowed upon us, so be careful what you wish for. But I envision our roundtables going forward, even when we go back in person, to have the option to view it through Zoom or somehow online, just to give everyone that flexibility.
Yeah, we're going to do the same thing only because I probably got one of the largest geographic districts, north to south of almost 100 miles. So somebody that's living up at the tip of the thumb, say Port Austin, you know, to drive down to Port Huron, that's over a 2-hour drive. So each way. So yeah, I mean, just because of the geographic hurdles that they have to deal with, for our attendance, that's got to happen. We got to offer it both ways, virtual and face-to-face.
Yeah, and I think, oh, good, Steve.
I was just going to say, and that adds a whole new host of challenges. Your meeting place that you're going to have it in live's got to have internet or, you know, a really robust hotspot. You have to have a decent camera and speakers. And I see Dane's hand up, so take it away, buddy.
So just because, Steve, thanks. Personal experience, just because this is not the only organization I volunteer for and run Zoom meetings for. I'm also a member of the VFW, and I run the Zoom for our VFW district and county councils. If you are going to do hybrid, they do work. However, some lessons learned that I've learned as I've run those is that if you're the one doing the Zooming or hosting the Zoom session, you need to be where the physical location is, because you need to be able to monitor what they're doing in the physical location, plus you need somebody dedicated to monitor chat like Steve is doing here at that portion of it. And that one of the things though that I found out in adding to it is because when people are at the local, in the person portion, a lot of the conversation gets missed for the people that are on the Zoom side of it because they can't hear. So you need another mic that can be carried around and given to people as they're talking, or make sure that the presenter uses that mic and you know, repeats the questions from the floor so that everybody can hear that. And then you as the person that's monitoring the chat can bring up their question or that. So you can do it fairly inexpensively. Like I've got a little Bluetooth speaker mic that I use now in my Zoom sessions, and we carry that around, and it does both. We can hear the Zoom participants speak in the physical location, and I have a small webcam that I hook up to my computer that also is on a tripod now, so that I can pan the room and then go from speaker to speaker so that we can see that information. So hybrids do work. You just have to do a little bit more planning and to make it effective and getting everybody to participate, because we didn't do that before, and we had a lot of our virtual participants just drop off because they're frustrated, they can't hear, they can't see what's going on. So, and I did try to run it remotely, hosting the Zoom and I couldn't communicate with the people that were in the physical location because I would lose them on the connections and stuff like that. So.
Hey, Dave, you're absolutely right. I just went out and actually just purchased a Yeti surround sound microphone. I just bought some Insignia speakers that are working really good. And I need to go out and buy a cord. I got a Nikon 750 camera. I think Steve could probably talk about cameras better than me. But as soon as I put the cord on, I'll have a webcam set up for my computer. So yeah, you're right. We learned a lot of these issues at our last couple of roundtables. But thanks for bringing that point up, because you're absolutely right. You have to have the right tech equipment.
If I could ask everybody that has done these hybrids, if you've got like a bullet list of, oh, I'll never do that again, and oh, glad I did that, or I'm going to try this next time. If you could just drop that in an email to me, I'll kind of put them in a decent order and share them with Adam, and between the two of us, we'll get something out to everybody. Because I really think that that's most likely where we're going to end up towards the end of the year, is that, especially with our rural friends, the best you're going to be able to do is most likely hybrid. So that way you get some of the people that can't come in, and then the people that need to come in, they can get together in one spot. But that's a good point, Dane, on being in the same room. I'm helping a troop and I am not there. So far it's been not too bad, because when somebody needs to address something, they come to where the camera and the microphone is on spot. But it's a smaller troop. If it was a bigger troop, that would be a big challenge. So those are good points.
The other thing that I've just started doing too, Steve, is like, because I allow call-in users in my session. So if they don't, they're just calling in by the phone, I've started including the instructions on how they can mute or raise their hand to be able to participate in the discussion from the phone also.
And I see we just got our 2-minute warning. Yep. So now the discussion will really get going.
That's right. So with everyone talking about doing the blended option, has anyone ran into problems about where you were holding your round table, looking for different places because of restrictions, things like that?
Actually, we're meeting at a church and they've got looser restrictions. Instead of the 25, they've got 100. So for our round table, we're actually able to have bigger groups because we fall under the umbrella for the church.
Okay.
So kind of sneaking under the radar screen, but it works for us.
And I know we're planning, as it gets warmer, to maybe do a couple of, at least one, maybe two outdoor meetings. Find a pavilion that we can use. There's several large pavilions in our area that we can use. So we're thinking, at least now, maybe to try something even outdoors.
Mohican is anticipating being able to get back into Wayne Community College without any issues once they open up.
I know here in Running Waters, we do have a little issue right now because a lot of the schools don't want outside organizations coming in yet, and we've used a high school gym for years. But we've been talking, still central to our area is Ida, kind of midway between our district. The firemen have been generous to let us use they have a park and pavilion and stuff. So we've been looking at that option to get together within an outdoor fashion coming up.
I know, Adam, just on the Pond Man Experience side, we've actually started polling our units to find out which organizations, so that we can put that list together, are allowing people to meet and use their facilities. So I know, like, we meet in a United Methodist Church, and they're still limited to 10 people in a room at this point. So
yeah,
in Sunset, we're able to go back to our meeting location. It's more of getting agreement amongst us and the commissioners as to whether we want to make that move at this time or not. So we're kind of leaning towards finishing out this scout year, at least through June, with meeting with Zoom, but going more to possibly face-to-face or a hybrid solution starting, in August. So, but our meeting location has welcomed us back if we do want to meet.
Well, everyone, we have about 10 seconds left here. I want to thank everyone for the great conversation today. It was an awesome sessions that we had. And we'll be back into our main session here in just a second. Have a great day, everyone.
Welcome everyone back. ready to with us right now. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Do we have everyone back now? Hopefully we do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So before we move on to our final stretch here, and I apologize, I know we're running a few minutes late, so thank you for bearing with us. It's been great discussions. I sat in 3 of the sessions, and a lot of excellent dialogue and presentations. So thank you to our breakout presenters, and also thank you again, Scott and Chris Hopkins, for all your help in administering the conference. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dan Willoughby, who's going to give us, and I unfortunately put Dan on a 5-minute timeline here. It's going to be quick to keep us on our schedule to talk about awards and training. So Dan, without further ado, I'd like you to take the ball from here and run with it.
Okay, Mark, yeah, if you want to throw up that slide, there we go. Real quick with the awards, and we typically start out with the Arrowhead Honor Award. Something that when I came into this position quite a few years ago, we did it. With the Arrowhead, you'll find that the district commissioner is the one that signs off. But what we ended up finding out is with the form and some things, there were some inconsistencies. And what we decided to do was to have the district commissioners, work with me on that, and I could help them verify it to make sure that it was done. Because what had happened was there was some misunderstandings, and the district commissioners would award the Arrowhead, and then when it would come along 2 years later to award the commissioner key, because that takes 3 years, they found out that things weren't quite done right, and they got commissioners got turned down to get their they were turned down from getting their key because it wasn't done right. So we wanted to go back and have somebody, the person that was handling training, also look at the awards to verify that the Arrowhead was right, because the Arrowhead does say repeat what you had done to earn the Arrowhead for another 2 more years to get the key. So they kind of did that, but it was wrong. And because MyDOT Scouting is so transparent about doing entries, other commissioners were going in, well, so-and-so didn't do this and so-and-so didn't do that. It caused a lot of confusion. Well, we want our key if they got it, and our Arrowhead. So we decided to have the district commissioners, for those of you that are new to the division that weren't in Great Lakes, that's the process that we're using. That way I can back the district commissioner up once it's awarded that that person is actually on the right track to be able to earn their key. So that's why the Arrowhead and the key are kind of right next to each other. The doctorate, there again, there's a lot of things that go with that. That's tied in with the college. Commissioner Award of Excellence is probably the most difficult other than the doctorate to get, simply because of all of the requirements that are in there. It's a little bit confusing, so I would tell people that if you want to do that, download that award, read it carefully, and then contact me for clarification to make sure that you're right. I hate to see anybody, and this goes for any of the awards, I hate to see anybody put 2-3 years into something and not be able to get it. Now, with the Distinguished Commissioner Award, for those of you who are familiar with the District Award of Merit, this works along the same way. There used to be, years ago, a specific criteria that you followed and that you would earn that particular knot. Well, now it's more of a nomination that goes with a write-up. And you could go ahead and do a write-up on an individual that you feel deserves to have this award. You can submit it to your district commissioner. It will fall on my desk. It comes to me. I have a panel, I have a committee that reviews these to find out if the participant actually would qualify in a criteria that we review and look at to see if they actually qualify for that. I don't tell anybody who they are because if they're going to get declined, I will send out a notice of why. We haven't handed out many. The ones that we have handed out were incredibly well deserved. So if you do have any questions, any concerns whatsoever on any of these awards, by all means, contact me. That's what I'm here for, to help you out. I want to see everybody get on the right track. Remember, Training is the key to this. And there's a difference between having your train badge and being fully trained. To get any of these awards, you need to be fully trained. If all your district commissioners have a spreadsheet that I sent out to them, generated and sent to them, and I actually have a column that shows who's fully trained and who isn't. So if you ask to see that, ask them, email me, I can tell you, and we can tell you what you're missing so you can get that corrected and get you on the right track. Any questions? Is there any questions? Let me look pull the chat up. Nope.
No
Good.
questions so far, Dan. And
Okay.
as luck would have it, my screen is locked at the moment. So we'll continue to talk about training, and hopefully it'll catch up with you. If you have anything more on training you want to talk about, on basic training.
You mean me? Yeah.
Yes, you.
With basic training, really, we haven't done any classroom. All of the modules are out there for most of the training. If you are a new unit, and when I mean a new unit commissioner, I don't mean that you are a commissioner that's a new unit commissioner. I mean that you are a commissioner that's handling a new scouting unit. If you are doing that, and that means you would need the D26 training, contact me directly. I can train you for that position, and I can enter the code for you. So let's see, what is an order to earn? Oh, what is the order to earn the awards? An Arrowhead is 12 months. When I say 12 months, I mean exactly that. It doesn't go by calendar year, it's just 12 months. To earn the Commissioner Award of Excellence, that is a 24-month term, and there's a lot to that. So please contact me on that one. The key is 36 month. The Commissioner Award, the Distinguished Commissioner, was typically 5 years, 60 months, but it actually can be less than that. That was one of the things that changed. It's really all about the write-up that you do on that commissioner. Okay.
And just to reiterate, another plug for our Commissioner College. It's coming up on April 24th. So we want to make sure you please sign up for that. And it's a great resource for you to get educated on commissioners. Okay, Dan, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. Now on to our Council Commissioner Emeritus, Mr. Steve Foster, who will actually be discussing specific awards that people will be receiving. Steve, take it away.
Thank you. All right, so now if I get this to work right. Is my screen showing appropriately?
It is.
Super cool. Okay, so Commissioner Awards, and this is a part that I always love to see people making things happen and then getting the proper recognition. So we'll start out with the Arrowhead honor, and you get a really slick little white arrowhead to put onto your uniform. Goes on the left shoulder. Is that right shoulder? Oh, shoot. Well, it goes on one of those shoulders. Let me check.
Left.
On the left. There we go. Now I'm going to embarrass myself now. Okay. So next, let's see who that is being recognized for that right now. We have the super fabulous Leanne, and we've got Jim. Next is Mark, James, Thomas, super cool Kurt, and Thomas again. We follow it up with David. Super awesome. Congratulations to the 8 of you. And you will be getting your certificate in the very near future if you don't have it already. Some of those I know you earned it earlier. So that will be coming soon. Next is the Commissioner Award of Excellence in Unit Service. We have a couple guys with that one. First, we have Lonnie, who's a district commissioner right now, followed by another district commissioner, Kurt. So it's pretty cool. You also will get your certificate and your knot, and you know where the knots go. And next up is the Distinguished Commissioner Service Award. And this one's pretty cool. And we have one person who has earned that, and that is Joe up in the Blue Water District. Congratulations, Joe. I think that's really great. And the Commissioner's Key, you've heard from this gentleman earlier tonight, is David, or I guess it's this morning. And congratulations, David. I've seen your certificate, so if you don't have it yet, it'll be coming soon along with your knot. Make sure you put it on your uniform right, Dave. And then last is a little follow-up. We'd love to see you on this list next year. Please get with your district commissioner and set your plan. And if by chance you should have been on this list, please reach out to your district commissioner and or Danny right away, and we will add you to this list before it gets posted. And I've put Danny's contact information right there on the screen. So back to you, Mr. District Division Council Commissioner, sir.
All right, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate that. All right, so I would like to call in a minute Mr. Ken Noren. And Ken, I'm giving you a heads up that you are on the screen here. Okay. Actually, sorry, that is not you. Apologize.
Ken's better looking.
Okay, there you go. All right, Ken, here's Ken, who's going to talk about a special recognition. And Ken, take it away.
So, real quick, talk about awesome people. We also have our former division commissioner, the inventor of awesomeness, I do
Well,
believe.
it was too much of a concentrated time at the stove.
Oh, somebody's off mute there.
Was it really? Wow, okay. And I'd like to inform everybody that he has completed the requirements and been awarded the Commissioner Key, and also was nominated for the Distinguished Commissioner Award, which he has received both of those. You know, I got to tell you, he came on board. I say to say he grabbed the bull by the horns, inserted awesomeness, and it's been a great 3-4 years now that we've been working together. So there he is. As you can see, he's not a real happy guy, but there he is with a Mackenzie statue that the former ACCs in the Great Lakes Field Service Council got together and got him. And it says on there, from 2017 to 2021, Steve Foster, Council Commissioner, thank you for your awesome leadership. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Ken. Really appreciate that. And I have to mention, you know, I just started my role less than 60 days ago, and Steve has been amazing to work with. Steve has taken as much time as I've needed. He is bent over backwards to help me get started in my new role. So I couldn't have asked for a better mentor. And Steve, I really appreciate all you've done. And I know the team has had the benefit of having you as its leader for the last 4 years. So thanks for all you've done. And so I thought it was appropriate, now that we're getting at the end of our meeting, to let Steve have the final word, because he's led this team for 4 years, and now it's his time to have the final say. So with that in mind, Steve, take it away and take us home to the end of our conference. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Waldron, can you allow me to share my screen again, sir? You might have to stop sharing, Mark.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
You should be good, Steve.
So, can everybody see that first photo?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so you know me, I'm a photographer, so I'm gonna have some visuals here for you guys. As we close this first ever virtual commissioners conference, and Mark, Scott, Chris, everybody that participated, awesome job. We hope you will leave today with a little inspiration and a reaffirmation of our role as commissioners. Speaking of, our mission as commissioners is to share the BSA mission, which is to prepare our youth to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and the 12 points of the Scout Law. Our vision is that every member of the BSA has a great scouting experience, and that includes us commissioners. We have to have fun. Many of us do this because it is fun. Some because we had an amazing and awesome experience as a scout, and we want to make sure that our youth today have that same opportunity. Some because they found scouting later in life, maybe because of their child's involvement, and they fell in love with the program, or at least believed in the principles. For some, it's just another way to be outdoors and enjoy what nature and landscapes have to offer. And from my experience, watching a scout make that journey is beyond rewarding. To see them overcome their fears, like traversing a monkey bridge, to learning new things and new skills. Having fun and making new friendships is something we can't make happen for our scouts, but we can create and support the environment where this happens organically. Another side benefit that I know all of you have discovered is the camaraderie that happens in scouting. You know, we know the principles of scouting and how the learning happens in a fun way, but many of the activities can eclipse the fun of spending, not many activities can eclipse the fun of having and spending time with your youth, your friends, and watching the growth and realization that happens in an active scouting adventure. I remember years ago standing on the back of Waterfront at a summer camp. I was watching my son Mark finish up his life-saving merit badge. Now, I was standing next to my friend Andy, who happens to be in this photo, and we looked at each other and we said, you know, where else can your kid have this much fun and learn the life skills that will stay with them forever? Helping foster, like that, helping foster the learning skills and focus that occurs along the Trail to Eagle is one of the things that I personally find so rewarding. The lad here in this photo is a guy that I happened to catch at summer camp, and he looked really cool. He was sitting on this tripod, and he'd done the lashings or had helped with the lashings on it. And I said, hey, can I take your photo? And he looked at me and gave me this big grin. I said, no, I want to get it like you're doing the studying and things like that. And over the years, I kept on running into him at camp, and I usually tried to get him in a photo. And then last year, well, not last year, the last time we had summer camp, I ran into him again, and he's now a proud Eagle Scout. Speaking of Eagle, I really suggest that each one of you get involved in attending at least one Eagle Board of Review. It's more than rewarding and amazing to watch the growth that is revealed by those earning the rank of Eagle Scout. I am always impressed. It's amazing, it's awesome. And I've been fortunate for the past few years to attend at least 3 or 4 of these throughout the year. The same does apply for those that are supporting our Sea Scouts, our venturing crews, and our Explorer Scout units. And I think it's so exciting to see the growth in the last few years of our Explorer units. Several of our districts have really embraced the exploring program and have made a concerted effort to support them. And as a result, we're seeing explosive growth in their numbers, as well as them being much more healthier groups. You need to make sure that you're involved with your units, not just a quick visit. And on that note, a shameless plug for Mark, that set your goal for 6 contacts minimum per unit, with at least 2 of them resulting in a detailed assessment, because that's one key way that we can ensure our units remain healthy and we can stave off an issue before they go into critical care, because we all know it's easier to stay out than it is to get out. So we all have to recognize this past year is, it's been rough. Now, we've seen an unprecedented loss in our membership and our units, but fortunately, the units that have hung in there are now healthier and I think more resilient. The members that are remaining are more committed to the scouting experience, and we see the value. We realize that this is not the result exclusively of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it was the accelerant, the fire that has ravaged our program, in addition to the negative attacks that we've had to suffer under for the past few years. The good news is we're nearing the end of this threat, and I'm not sure how much longer it will last, but we are certainly on the downhill side of this thing. We've learned a lot about ourselves. That's really good. We have scouts advancing. We still have scouts reaching Eagle. We just had our inaugural class of the female scouts, and they were celebrated. Service projects are still being done. Our communities are still being helped through scouting. Merit badges are still being earned. In fact, there's a troop right now that I've been watching that's got a merit badge thing going on right now, and they've got 27 scouts involved in that. Outdoor camping is happening. Summer camp planning is happening and is in full swing, and I'm looking forward to being back at camp. We are surviving, but now our new work arrives, helping keep our units healthy and more robust. The opportunity to rebuilding the units that took a pause because of the virtual only environment has presented itself, and we need to take that up. The opportunity to capture new scouts and recover scouts that want to participate again once the program returns to normalcy. And we might have a new normal. Roundtables might remain virtual, or for the most part virtual. Hybrid meetings might happen where some are in person and others are connected remotely. I don't know what the future holds, but we have to be ready. We have to be prepared. New meeting places and strategies are going to have to be found and implemented. Regardless, I know that we are up to the task because we've seen it, we've learned a lot. The results are in, we have survived, and we, I believe, are stronger than we've ever been. And I know we are up to the task. We can do it. So let's pull up our socks, get our boots on, snug our belts, and get out there and help our scouts have an awesome experience. More training opportunities are available than ever before, and we just spoke about some of that. The upcoming Commissioner College. If you've not attended one before, now is a great opportunity to do that because it's virtual and it doesn't take a lot of effort to get there. And if you can't make the one that's coming up, there's a lot of them that are happening across the US, and you just have to pick the one that's going to fit you, fit it into your schedule. So don't forget to have fun, because you know, if we're not having fun, the kids aren't either. Be awesome. Spread the enthusiasm wherever you go. Support and uplift our frontline leaders like the awesome commissioners I know that you are. And with that, I'll close it out, Mr. Bentley, and give it back to you, my friend.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I can't say much more. I really appreciate your final words, and it's uplifting, and the pictures that we've been getting a lot of great comments about your pictures. So thank you for sharing that. And with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending today. It's been a great meeting. Really appreciate all your interaction, and we look forward to working with you this year. So have a great Saturday, and thank you again. Take care.